Albatross here again with the Cypher Unlimited crew. We have our usual suspects of AD or Alpha Dean. We have Spigs18 or Anthony. Just as a quick reminder, if you haven't already, be sure to hit follow and subscribe on Twitch and YouTube. It really helps out our channel quite a bit. And Dean, what are we doing here today?
Well, guys, hey, we haven't done this in a little while, but we're actually talking to people out there in the interwebs who are part of the same community. We are loving Cypher System and Invisible Sun and all things Monte Cooke. And tonight we have none other than the Soul's Confidant, which is an Invisible Sun actual play show. It's on Friends Who Roll Dice Twitch channel. It's about a group of Visley connected through their relationships, secrets, the mysteries unfolding in Firetown, and probably so much more. Following the legacy of the renowned maker Anya Prose and the thief stealing her power of objects of power. Nothing is as it seems, not even the truth these individuals hold dear. You can catch their adventures every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. I would suggest checking it out. I actually went and watched it, an episode, and I was pretty impressed. I thought it was like a lot of fun. I really wish I had time to play because I would be like, let me in. But so tonight we have Mare, Hamna, Alex, and Valiant Dorian from Soul's Confidant, an Invisible Sun actual play. And let's get our people here.
Before I even get started, could you guys tell us who you are? We did this elaborate rundown like 15 minutes before we went on air. Dean completely forgot everything we said. So we'll go in. Mare, could you let us know who you are and who you are on the show?
Sure. Hi, I'm Mare. I use they, she pronouns, and I don't have a character sentence because I'm the game master. So I play everyone except my lovely players.
Nice. Valiant. I wasn't call Hamna, but the whole thing that came apart, but you know how it goes.
Of course, it's fine. Hi everyone, I'm Valiant Dorian. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I am playing Ishmael, who is an iconoclastic empath of the Order of Goetics who calls upon the serpent.
Nice.
Awesome. Hamna, you didn't go first.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Hamna. I use any and all pronouns, and I'm being slandered on stream. No, I'm kidding. On the Soul's Confidant, I play Roshni, who uses they, them pronouns. They are an itinerant ardent of the Order of Weavers who caught fire's eye.
That sounds awesome. Alex.
That leaves me, my characteristically last spot, which I love. Hello, my name is Alex, and on TSC, I play Eleanor, who is a connected empathic maker who revels in beauty.
Now, Alex, you said Palador?
Eleanor.
Oh, Eleanor. Okay.
Eleanor, yeah.
That would have been the most ironic thing. It would have been the first time somebody had the same character name that I did. So that's kind of cool.
If it's okay, I know not all the cast could make it. I love Invisible Sun. Can I also introduce their characters that
absolutely, please do.
Cool. We're missing April and C tonight, but those are our other two players. April plays Lillian, who is a bizarre ardent of the Order of Goetica who splinters into fragments. And C plays Electo the Curse Maker, who is an eremitic stoic apostate who converses with everything.
Nice.
You know what that means, right? Next session, something really bad has to happen to them. And,
it's already planned. It's already planned.
Not TPK level, but just a little jab.
I go for the heart. It's okay.
Before I even get into the questions, I did get to binge watch everything. You guys are absolutely phenomenal. I just thought I'd tell you that. I had so much fun. Don't tell my boss because I was watching them at work. So, but you guys had me laughing, crying, hitting every emotion that one person could possibly have in these 3 episodes. So I just want to tell you that you keep up the great work, and I will be tuning in on Sundays going forward.
Yeah, so, I probably won't tune in on Sundays. I'll have to catch the replays because I work on Sundays, and that's why I only watch like 1.5 episodes. But at any rate, let's get into the fun. Let's see if these guys can keep up with Cypher Unlimited.
All right, so could you guys tell us a little bit about Friends Who Roll Dice, where your show is actually, your Twitch channel that your show is on, and give our audience a little bit of what exactly is, the Soul's Confidant, like for someone who's never watched the show before?
The first part if someone else wants to take the second part so I don't accidentally spoil anything. How's that? Hi. Friends Who Roll Dice is a Twitch channel who really focuses on original TTRPG storytelling and fostering diverse and mindful community engagement. We tend to focus a lot on a lot of indie games and fundraising. So I've only been part of the channel since this summer, but we have raised money for like the Trevor Project, Charity Water, and a lot of indie games, upcoming Kickstarters and such like that. I actually found half my cast through a charity game from this summer for the Trevor Project. So
That's actually awesome.
I'm gonna do a handoff to someone else so I don't spoil the game.
And the show-
GM knowledge.
No, we want the spoilers, Mayor. We want the spoilers.
Just tell us. No.
No.
I don't
Okay.
think it's gonna happen then, so I guess
I tease you in DMs is what I do with little snippets of stuff that comes up.
Yeah, you do,
No,
like a
you do.
villain.
This is payback for our offline game, so it's fine.
Yeah, fair.
All GMs have a little villain in them, though.
they
That's
have
true.
to. They have to. All right, Valiant, come on, tell us about the show. Tell us what's going on, man.
Oh goodness, what is at this point? It really does feel what is not happening at this point in our series at the moment. But currently, we are on the lookout for a individual who has been stealing very potent magical artifacts by one Anya. And it seems that regardless where we go, this particular individual named Kiran seems to be interlinked with several members of the group and external folks. So the mystery deepens. Find out more on Sunday at the same time we do. It's going to be great.
And I have to tell you, man, the action is great. Keep it up. I just love it, you know. I'm gonna have to try to listen more so I can steal it.
And real quick before I move on to the next question, those links are in the chat and they will be in the chat and the description later if you want to check out the Twitch channel and bookmark it, like them, follow them, whatever have you, so you can catch that show on Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, you kind of answered this one partially a little bit, which is how you guys met was through a charity game. But could you guys tell us a little bit more about your like individual experiences in gaming as a whole, and why did you guys decide to do an actual play together?
Start the first part. I decided to start the actual play and did a casting call because I really love the system. And I want to keep running it. It's really, that's the big part of it. Invisible Sun is my favorite system, at least in terms of overall, but we all love a good cipher as well. So that's the gist on my end and why it's an actual play. It's like, I love stabbing at people's heartstrings on camera.
Well, good job.
Yeah, and Invisible Sun is definitely a system that allows you to do that.
Exactly. So descriptive. All right, Hamna, you're up. I'm gonna get the whole team. We're just gonna.
That's totally fair. I think for me, like my experience in gaming, I started playing tabletops sometime in like during my undergraduate degree in university, because I had a bunch of friends who would play, like Dungeons and Dragons was where it started. I think where most people start playing tabletops, and I had a bunch of friends who were playing, and I was like, well, okay, like I want to hang out with all of y'all, so I'll come and like watch and sit in on a game. And I really enjoyed like watching the game and like seeing it all happen. So I was like, okay, cool, like maybe this is something that I can do, maybe this is something I can be a part of. And just ever since then, I've been playing tabletops, and I didn't actually start like branching out into other systems until like I would say maybe like a year ago. Like it's been pretty recent. And so far, Invisible Sun has been tickling like all the right parts of my brain. I think maybe partially because of the way Mare has set up our story. I love puzzles so much, and Mare has interwoven all of our backstories in this like really intricate way. And it's been really fun to just kind of learn, like Val put it so well, like we learn as the audience learns like what's going on with everybody's life and with everybody's characters and stuff. So it's been a blast.
That's how
Wholly organic. I love it. Love it. Bear, keep up the good work.
You know what I hear a lot of people say is I wanted to sit and watch a session, and then that's how the addiction starts. You know, like it's great that role playing is like you could be like, I'm gonna sit there and watch, and then next thing you know, I'm on stream a year later, you know, playing every Sunday in front of an audience. That is so awesome.
That
It's
is
evolved
so
so much.
accurate, though.
Yeah, that's literally what happened to me. I just
Yeah.
like sat in on a session and I was like, this is I like that. I wanna do more of that actually.
Like, I started watching games, not Invisible Sun, and then I got casted in Invisible Sun game, and that's how everything started.
And what Anthony's saying, it is so cool because we come from an era where that would have never happened. You know, so it's really cool that we live in a time and place where gaming is so accessible and so alluring to so many people. It just, like I said, I call it, you know, game land nirvana. You know, we're living, I mean, we're living in the platinum age of gaming, the way I see it. You know, the only thing that could make it better is if I could, you know, put a jack in the back of my head and project all the stuff that goes on up here for a game. You know, not thinking about it. So, Alex, you want to give us your take on what's going on?
Yeah. So I've been playing RPGs since about 2016 when I was when I just started my degree in college. And it was all D&D up until about 2019, where at the beginning of that year, I joined an Invisible Sun actual play. And let me tell you, it was a wild ride the whole way through. I had no idea what was going on until like 5 sessions before we ended, and then things started to click for me, which timing was all off. But no, that system absolutely taught me how to like actually role play a character. It was a fantastic experience. We had a great DM running it, and now a little bit later, I ran an Invisible Sun game on another channel, which was a total blast, which is how I introduced Mare's in that direction, I think, on the stream, to the system. And that was totally fun. Carried completely on the backs of the players, 150%. And then I signed up for this one because, hey, I love the system. It's a ton of fun.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Hamna, you want to talk about this, or you know, you trying to hide the corner again?
Hamna already went.
Yeah,
Yeah,
buddy.
I'm sorry, Valiant.
Hi.
You just love hearing from me so much they want me to go again. That's okay.
I was just like, wow, all the slander at Hamna, and I'm just chilling and vibing over here.
No matter where I go, I get bullied. This is my curse.
Oh my god. But yes,
Lovely,
Valerie,
You the one hiding in the corner.
I'm just gonna get under my desk now.
I think we're gonna have our first on-air firing, Dean.
Oh goodness.
Call the HR department. Hold on, let me switch hats.
But yes, Valiant.
Hi, yeah. So I only really got into playing TTRPGs around 2020 when everything kind of closed down for the pandemic, and that was the main way for me to interact and spend some time with my friends who are very, very far away from me. We started by playing D&D, started by playing a paladin, and then that's when it started, and I just wanted to get into more and more games, and I found an opportunity on Utopia to connect with other folks who just play TTRPGs and perform as these characters, or who perform as GMs, and that was the kind of opening to allowing me to basically apply for the Forward Friends Who Roll Dice's casting for the Queen, and then I also applied for the Invisible Sun game, and it's been a blast. I am falling in love. If I haven't already been considered in love already with the system, I would love to run it one day. And Mara just does an incredible job week in and week out, just facilitating all of our storytelling, and it's such a blessing.
Nice.
Oh, you guys play For the Queen? That game is freaking awesome.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is.
That's
That
how
was
I met
so
Hamna.
fun. Yeah, that is actually how Val C, who's not here, and I met through that charity game on Friends Who Rolls Dice.
I'd be lying if I said the chemistry didn't make me put that group together.
Nice.
Yeah,
it was
I
so
love-
fun. I loved it.
Yeah.
So, was the Invisible Sun always your first choice of setting? And why did you choose Saturnine in the first place?
So I prefer the system in general overall because I find systems like D&D extremely stressful to prep for, and the way the setting and system is set up, it's really beneficial to my playstyle as a GM, coupled with the surrealness of the game and the fact that you can literally do just about anything. It was kind of like a perfect shoe-in for me as a game master.
Before I even go into like my question, a couple of things that you guys said, sparked some of my questions I want to ask. Everyone came from like a D20 based game originally, right? And and not to, because all of us started it. I think D&D is like the original like gaming drug. But how was it the transition from going to a mechanical style game where mechanics matter to more narrative-based games like For the Queen, Invisible Sun? Like how was the transition for your guys as players? What was it difficult for you?
I can go first if you want me to.
I can go.
Oh, go ahead, Hamna. You can go first.
I was gonna, just so we can take the burden off of you. I was gonna say that I think for me personally, it was really, really freeing, because the thing that I liked about D&D and like doing tabletops from the get-go was the role play. It was really just the narrative side of things. I really enjoyed, fleshing out like, what is my character's backstory? What is their motivation? How do they relate to the other characters at the table and to this world? And like just playing out essentially this narrative. And for me, sometimes the mechanics of things can get in the way of that. So I really enjoy more narrative-based free-form type games because they really lean into that. And I would argue that their mechanics actually help facilitate that kind of like storytelling, that kind of character focus. And so, at least for me, it was a very, very natural transition, a very natural flow.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree in the fact that it is extremely freeing. As we all said, I also started off in D&D, but I learned 3.5, and if you're familiar with 3.5, that's super, super crunchy. And in my offline, my real life groups before the pandemic, it really wasn't much of a very roleplay focused group. We did want to break our characters with the GM because that's how the GM was. But once the pandemic started and like at the end of 2019 and going into 2020, and I started learning about the online space and getting introduced to a more narrative heavy like play style, whether it was something like Invisible Sun or D&D, whatever the system, that's when my play style and GM style clicked, because I finally had that opportunity to do it. And my passion in a GM as a player is doing the whole collaborative storytelling bit and role playing, and Invisible Sun is really, really meant for that, in my opinion, especially when it is a very player driven game with all the character arcs.
Yeah, especially from the GM side, like you could be narrative very easily as a player in any crunchy system, but for a GM, those crunchy systems, you have to concentrate on the rules, so it takes away like half of your brain space of I have to remember these rules. But like these narrative games, you don't have to worry about that, so it's even easier for a GM to get in that mindset because there's less rules you have to worry about.
You really get to focus on the story. And you did sum it up excellent. A lot of people probably don't necessarily know or, experience it like that. But MCG games, both Cypher, if you look at any of them, they all support the mechanics, support the narrative. They support the GM in the sense that the rules really apply to the players and not to the GM. The GM can kind of just do what they need to do. They make the story happen. And you as the players just have your little steering wheel, so you make sure you stay on the beaten path, but you're not. It's pretty cool.
Alex, how was the transition for you?
Yeah. So for me, the transition was really weird. So I'm an engineer. I love the numbers on my sheet. Just so there will always be some place for me in like kind of crunchy systems. But even so, I absolutely learned how to role play through Invisible Sun. And I definitely feel like the process of playing that game has brought me to a place where I'm considering both at about equal weight, to where I'm still kind of like, ooh, I wonder if this number went higher. I'm still doing that. And I don't think I'll ever stop doing that until I like actually die. But I'm also looking at stuff from like a character lens. And when I'm building my character, I'm not solely focusing on like, oh, you know, what mechanics am I going to pick? And then what person am I going to build around that? I've got it backwards now. It's like, what person do I want to play? What body do I want to inhabit for the next X weeks? And then how can I pick and choose mechanics to make that person the most fun for me to play? So yeah, it's been a real blast. I have so much fun with playing Invisible Sun.
Oh my God. Alex is just hilarious because you don't realize that how many people, I don't know if you know about the Monte Cooke people, but you know just about all of them were scientists of some sort before they start doing this.
I ran a Numenera game prior, and I can tell they've got some science people. I can absolutely tell they've got science people, and I love it.
They're all scientists, which is just crazy, you know. And it's funny you said you're an engineer, me too. So,
ooh, fun.
You know, them three.
Nerd.
Hey, you're a chemist. You're not much better.
Oh, nerd. Did somebody say my middle name?
Hey, Valiant, before we move on, what was your experience like?
Well, I am in my career, I'm a lawyer, so everything for me has always kind of lived in the realm of words and rhetoric and performance. And I was very lucky, I guess, because my D&D groups have always been roleplay heavy. We're all roleplay heavy players, and we love getting into the narrative drive of the story. And even from the get-go, my first paladin character, Vihan, I did not build a paladin optimally. I put my negative stat in wisdom, which is not what you're supposed to do with a paladin, but I was playing a himbo, so that was the vibe I was going for. So to echo kind of what Hamna was saying, I did find it very, very freeing. But it is still quite intimidating to learn a new system in general. But I really found the structure of Invisible Sun in terms of the character creation very, very interesting. And I found it very helpful for folks who don't necessarily get the opportunity to think about their characters in a certain way, to actually be put in that position of like, what's your role-playing style? That's literally in the rule book. What is your role-playing style? What is your character arc? You don't have to stick to this, but look at it and see how you feel. Who is your character? What's their forte? And as you slowly start building and working alongside your GM, please always work alongside your GM, because that is when all the spicy things come out. It's great. As Mara always does with me whenever I come up with an idea, I'm just kind of like, how about if you like to hurt me more? And so yeah, Invisible Sun is a very, very facilitating game to help folks who are not necessarily geared to think that way to start thinking that way for their characters.
Now, Valiant, am I to understand that this is your first narrative-based game?
No, I think for the Queen would count.
Okay, but still, so you're really only just moving into the more narrative space. Which,
yes.
I mean, that's kind of a loaded question because D&D can be narrative.
No,
that's difficult.
D&D can be narrative, but what I'm saying, a narrative game.
Yes.
A game built to be narrative.
Yes, this would be my first game. Yes.
It's pretty awesome, man. That's cool. You guys, like I said, you really couldn't tell.
I jumped onto the TTRPG train, and I am on it, and it is going to several destinations, and I'm just on it now. Is what I'm learning, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. It's great.
Yeah, play as many different games as you possibly can, because that's the best way to game. So since we touched on this, but like I said, I binge watched all the shows, and I absolutely love all your characters. They're so original and different from each other. Can you guys tell us how you decided to come up with such creative characters for the show? And did you guys draw inspiration from anywhere?
Let's get Valiant going.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just laughing because I'm thinking about my character creation process, and it was literally just how can I sow the most chaos possible? I think that was the question I asked myself when I was making the character, because I had played. I think what I like to do when I play tabletops is I like to think about like, okay, what kind of characters have I been playing recently? How can I play someone different than that now? And I realized that I hadn't played kind of like a shit disturber kind of character for a while, and I was like, that could be really fun. So I kind of went into it with that, and like minor spoiler, the arc for my character that was really what came first. Like I looked through the character creation process, and I know you're supposed to do them in a specific order, but really I looked at the character arc and I was like, I want this specific arc. I picked like the Fall from Grace arc. I was like, my character's not going to go through like a fun story. It's good, it's fun, but it's not, you know, like fun for them. They're gonna go through something and they're gonna crash and burn, and that's gonna be the whole thing. So I really took that, and then I thought, how can I build around this? And so, you know, picking like the heart was really easy. Picking an ardent, a storm heart, somebody who's kind of volatile with their emotions, who doesn't really know how to be chill. Like they feel everything, they feel it really intensely, and they have no chill whatsoever. Going through that, and then kind of just going through all of the other decisions that I wanted to make, and making that fit into this idea that I had of essentially a tragedy. I wanted to make a tragic character, somebody that you related to in some way, somebody that you rooted for. You want them to win, but you don't necessarily particularly think they're the most perfect character, and you can see that they're about to just fuck themselves over so badly, and it's inevitable and it's coming, but you still can't help but hope that maybe they won't do that. That was sort of the whole idea that I had.
Like, I'm just gonna pop in here every once in a while because I don't have a player, but like Roshni is a disaster. Alex, Valiant, you have only seen the stuff on stream. They are a disaster in the development scenes. Holy crap. Yeah. It's great.
It's great when you can describe a person's character, oh, they're a disaster. Because that, you know, that's entertainment for not only everyone else at the table, but if you're streaming it for viewers.
Yeah, I'm just here to poke everybody and push their buttons, especially Eleanor, which was unexpected.
Yeah, thanks.
All of a sudden, Roshni and Eleanor are like button heads now.
Yeah, I wonder whose fault that is.
It's not mine. I've never done anything wrong in my life.
Yep,
We can go to
totally.
Eleanor next. What was your inspiration?
Yeah. So I have always wanted to. Well, actually, let's back up. I found like my sort of like comfortable zone in playing characters. I love sad characters. I love just sad people. I don't know what that says about me, and I'm not willing to do the introspection necessary to find out. But I'm just like, okay, well, like, what's a really like fun sort of, well, like fun? What's like a really good concept to latch onto? And I ended up coming with like the idea of someone who has like so much love for the world around them and just cannot reconcile with themselves. And so I'm like, okay, we have someone who's just like has joy in being alive. And so I'm like, okay, Fortes, what are we looking at? I picked Revels in Beauty because it's like, okay, this matches with the person I want to play. I picked Maker because like Alex, just wanted to play a Maker. I love characters that make things. It's
Fuck
so
the
much
Maker's
fun.
Matrix.
I love the Maker's Matrix. I think it's a lot of it's a bit to get into, but I really like the Matrix.
But it looks terrible.
It's the engineer in him, and
Yeah,
and the only Invisible Sun character I have is a Maker too. So.
yeah, no, I absolutely yeah. So I love the Maker, and so from there it's like, okay, I've got my heart. Not my heart, my forte and my order picked out. Now it's just time to pick out the rest. Empath worked well with that. And I always love having character connections. So I went with Connected to like round out this sort of build, so to speak, of Eleanor. And it was a very step-by-step methodical process, but rather than it being a step-by-step methodical process of how can I get, you know, these numbers to be maximized, is how can I make this the most interesting but still cohesive character that I can. And so that was my process in coming up with Eleanor.
How can I make the saddest character ever
Yes.
And with the connected stuff, the creepiest connection, the unseen children.
I love the unseen children. They're great.
They're
That
great.
is hard, though.
They're
Valiant is
fun to
like-
play.
It's hard.
Look at Valiant shaking his head.
The unseen children are objectively good.
I love them. I think it's
do too.
great.
So tell us about your character, Valiant.
Everybody on this stream is gonna immediately make fun of me because everyone's put in like really good thoughts on the main reason why they created that character very, very eloquently. I just wanted to play someone who was hot. That's where it started. I woke up one morning and I went, I never get to play the hot character. I am going to be the hot character. So that's where it started. And even then, when I picked my forte, I was like, snakes are sexy though. Why can't I have a serpent? Like serpents are sexy. I could have that.
Valiant,
And-
you delivered. You delivered.
You
Ishmael is so
delivered.
hot.
Thank you. It's okay. Can I post the link to our character art in chat?
Yes, by all means, yes.
Okay,
by all
cool.
means.
I'm Valiant. I'm definitely stealing that in my next game. I don't care what I'm playing. I'm playing the hot character.
It's
I'm
like,
playing. Yeah.
it's just funny. You come in the table, it's like it's like tragic backstory 1, tragic backstory 2. I want to be the hot one.
That's where it started.
There's
Was
tragic backstory 3 and 4 for the other 2 that aren't here too.
But you know what, Valiant? Hey, somebody has to be the epitome of hotness. So why not?
someone's got to do the job, and you know what? I'm okay with doing it. But that's how it started, and it was Ishmael has got to be up to this point the hardest character I've ever crafted. I think I had to like really dig in deep there, and I am going to give a lot of the credit on poking my brain to Mur, because that was just kind of what I needed. Was a GM that could just really prod the little gray cells of my brain to kind of go like, consider this, and that's kind of how we both were able to kind of build Ishmael out to be a very complex character. I think not only being the hardest character I've ever created, but also the most complex and subtle, which has been an incredible challenge to role play and decide to do smaller things. Because I went from being big buff paladin or like wild magic sorcerer Zaltana with anxiety to someone that considers, someone that's quiet, someone that contemplates and thinks very, very carefully about everything that they're doing. And yeah, so that's kind of how it all started. I'm afraid to say too much, so I'm gonna keep it nice and
I
good.
have a lot in common. He always plays the big buff paladin as well.
I love being big and I love being strong.
So for me, and I said in the chat, I'm Cypher Unlimited in the Twitch chat, and paladins are easily my favorite class in any game that has them, because one, you get to be a big, tanky, like reliable person for your buddies. You're always getting them safe, and you heal them. You have magic that heals them too. So not only do you keep them safe, you can get them better if they get hurt. Like that's the best combo. But yeah, we kind of touched on your characters a little bit here, and your GM style, Mayor, a little bit, or you know what you kind of have going on behind the scenes here. But do you guys, as a whole, have any advice for our viewers who might want to start their own actual play, both as a player or a GM?
You're gonna
I'll let
be
you
an
know.
actual player and like stream, whether it's going to be on YouTube or Twitch. Don't do everything yourself. This is more technical advice from someone who produces and GMs. If you can, work with your players to help you, or get a producer, because it is a lot of work multitasking behind the screen. It is a lot of work. If you want something really polished, you need overlays, closed captions if you're going to be accessible, and everything between, starting soon. Sometimes if you want music, you need to find copyright-free music, like getting an Epidemic Sound license, or there's someone who does other stuff as long as you credit them, but like it's a lot of work. So just think it carefully, and I do encourage you to do it if you want to go that route, but just be prepared to put the work in.
Real quick before y'all jump in, I will piggyback off that and say that is 100% accurate. That is one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard. As the sole tech person here who gets no help from these two guys, I will say that. No, I'm just joking. But yes, that is very, very good advice.
I do all the producing, script writing.
This is my third game that I have produced from scratch from myself, from casting to asset work and et cetera, and advertising. But I've also produced for other games that I've run just as a player, and it's a lot of work. Just don't go in thinking it's easy. Like, I know we all joke, everyone and their mom is going to start a podcast, but it's a lot of work.
Oh, I thought you was just going to go amen and drop the mic.
That would require me unscrewing my mic.
How about as players? What advice would you give to someone that wants to be a player in an actual play?
Backing up a quick second, I was going to say the same thing, get yourself a tech person, but I was worried that was too flippant because Mare is my tech person. So
get yourself a Mare.
Yeah, right.
We'll be posting the telephone number where you can contact Mare directly after this.
Oh, no.
I'm not adverse to being hired to run tech for y'all.
That's true. But as far as being a player goes, gosh, I feel like for me, one of the biggest things, especially with Invisible Sun and other narrative-heavy systems where you have a lot of like story and game time focus on people's individual goals, I feel like getting excited about the other people at the table is one of the biggest things that like can help you along in this, because like with sometimes it can be easy to like lose focus, especially if you have difficulty with like your attention span and the things at the table aren't really like involving you too much. But if you can get yourself pumped up and get yourself excited and really supporting the other characters in just wanting to see what happens, that I think has been, that was something that really came into focus when I started playing Invisible Sun, and that's definitely something that helps a lot when you have these systems that like, all right, you might have a scene with just this person sort of forwarding their goals, and like being excited about that is so much more rewarding than being disengaged.
That's a great one.
Valiant? So you don't always be the last one to answer?
I was enjoying the lovely position that I was in. I am going to echo a lot of what Alex has already said in terms of like, yes, being excited about the folks at the table, the people who are sharing that time with you, and also having a mind for collaborative storytelling, because that's what a lot of TTRPGs are, is that it is collaborative storytelling, and really exercising that muscle of, yes, I will always say this. I say this to literally every person I meet who hangs out with me. Hamna is one of the best examples of creating a character with Roshni, of creating a character that is a Spitfire, that does really like kind of like engage with the party in a morally gray way, mostly stirring shit up, but doing it in a way that's facilitating storytelling and facilitating character connections and development. There is a way to do, you can be a disruptor, but a good disruptor. You could be a low-key in your narratives, and I wholly encourage you to explore that type of narrative when you are creating a character like that. So I guess TLDR, everything boils down to practice, practice, practice. Just like any art, role-playing is a performance art too. And practice different characters, practice that muscle, and you'll be well on your way, I think.
That's actually really great advice.
Absolutely.
I think for me, okay, this might be the one answer people don't like to hear necessarily, but I think one
A hot
thing,
take?
it's not really a hot take, I think, but one thing that if you're looking to get into like actual play, whether that's as a GM or as a player, I think to ask yourself is like, why do you want to do this? What is your intention behind joining? Because I think a lot of people are like, oh, I really like playing tabletops at home. I like my home games, so I'm going to go and do it on stream. But I think it's important to ask yourself, like, are you looking to just like shoot the shit and like have fun with other people at the table and just like maybe share that with an audience? Or are you looking to like raise money for charity? Or are you looking for this to be like a professional actual performance? Like, are you looking to perform for people? Because they think there is a difference between just playing at a table versus performing at a table. And I think that's a distinction that a lot of people don't necessarily ask themselves at first. And different channels I've noticed have different intentions as well. Some channels are just here to facilitate like just friends playing at a table, whereas other channels are really here to like put out an art piece. They're here to put out a show and they want you to perform. And if you're not sure which of the two you want to do, it can be kind of jarring to be in a space that doesn't align with your intentions. So I think just putting some introspection in place and asking those questions, you know, if a casting call goes out and you're not really sure where on that spectrum like that channel lies, I think like ask, just be like, hey, like here's what I would like to do. Like, what's your intention with this game? Like what is the goal essentially? I think asking those questions is something that on all sides of the actual play spectrum, like we should get into the habit of doing more often.
That's actually a really great point. We talk about that all the time. You know, there's two different types of streams. And I think a lot of times, even in casting, there's no clarity, you know, because there's some streams like we tend to do a lot more of we're friends playing Cypher system as opposed to, you know, where we're trying to put this dramatic performance where everyone's going over the top or everyone is really 100% in character. And you need that clarity because you're absolutely right. Those are two entirely different games. And, you know, someone to join a game and they have a certain mindset of what they expect to be happening. And when it doesn't happen, it just not only doesn't make for a bad show, it just makes for a bad experience for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the day,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say at the end of the day, like you should be having fun at the table you're at, whether that's like you're just here to play or you're here to perform. Like you should be enjoying yourself because if you're not enjoying yourself, like believe me, nobody is enjoying watching. So
And
I noticed when none of you
I was
guys mentioned fear or nerves. Was that ever an issue for anyone
Nerves.
here?
Me doing the pre-stream jitters every game.
Because, you know, that's something we hear a lot from, oh, I want to do this, but I'm nervous, you know. Is that something any of your guys had experienced the first few times?
That's definitely something that I came across like early on in streaming and you know, like moving forward, one of the things that best helped me is like I will pretty much only do streams with like people I know or people who like have been vouched for by somebody I know. That's just for me like a comfort level thing. I have a really hard time, especially running games with like people I've never met before. So as far as jitters go, if I ever like start feeling like, oh, I want to do something, but I will like, you know, I usually have half my screen Twitch, half my screen Zoom. I will blow up the Zoom and just look at the people that I know. Just look at the people that I trust. And in that moment, they're the only ones who matter.
That's awesome.
I know this question wasn't directed towards me, but I will say that right before we stream, pretty much every single time I take a stress nap, probably 30 minutes before. Literally every stream. And we've been doing this how long now? So whether you get over those jitters or not, like you can still push yourself to do these things if you really, really want to.
and we won't even tell people how many times you've told us you're going to throw up. You know, or he's going to take it, you know, right here. All right. So now that we've talked about all that, that's actually awesome. And it kind of brings things into perspective and brings us right back around to, do you guys have any favorite, you know, story arcs have happened already or any scenes? We know you're only 3 episodes in, but any moment, do you guys each have a moment you'd like to share with the audience? And that includes you too, Mayor. That includes you too, Mayor.
Yeah. I think my favorite moment was in the first session. Right after we got from break, when Eleanor talked to Electo, which is C's character, this sweet white-haired maker, and this really tall, buff person who is super like antisocial, and they had this super touching conversation that alluded to a lot of backstory stuff, and it just kind of like
touched my heart in the best of ways. And I wasn't expecting it either to come up.
Sweet.
Oh, that's cool.
So Alex,
Yeah. So I have a similar example from that same session. Was this something that happened? Spoiler alert for our very first session. Something that happens is there's an attack on an art gallery. And our characters are all there. And I'm generally expecting, I'm playing a character who's like, I would not consider her to be an adventurer. So anytime there's like an attack on something, I'm like, this person's probably running the opposite direction or something along those lines. But the Sooth card that Mare pulled, off the top of my head, I think it was the Imperator, but it was the Sovereign for empaths, which is what my character was. So I'm like, okay, I'm vibing now. I'm gonna, be brave and go into this with confidence and just, sort of like not run away. And it was like all of my nonsense has been so far. For me, it was a really fun and satisfying marriage of the system mechanics and being able to play off of that with my character and the story. And so I had a ton of fun with that.
nice. And Valiant?
Oh God. This is really hard because I have a conspiracy board that I've written in character that has post-it notes. It's right in front of me, it's behind the webcam. And post-it notes that's Val's specific thoughts. So I'm heavily invested in everyone's storylines and arcs, and trying to marry them together. But I'm trying to think. I think I'm gonna like rephrase the question a little bit and kind of go. My favorite moment in the campaign thus far has got to be the Curse Maker taking that plunge against a highly skilled player of the Spider game. Is that what it's called? And just taking that, because for me that was a moment of incredible courage from a player that's very, very new to Invisible Sun to just go in there and take that risk and do it their way. And it's also an incredible moment to kind of see this character who has very, very interesting relationships with the other characters got on a limb like that and to make that step. And I find it very interesting how that one action has kind of like permeated in the relationships with the other characters. Because I know, not to speak for anyone else's character, I know Ishmael's take on Alecto has shifted. So I can only imagine what anyone else feels about that. So yeah.
On that front, that character, the very skilled weaver that Alecto was playing against was my character's ex. So Roshni definitely has many feelings about that happening, let me tell you.
So what is that your most memorable moment as well?
I think for me, there's a lot. I'm bad at favorites. I'm really bad at like the most of anything, but I think one moment that kind of stands out for me is, so April, who's not here, who plays Lillian, I think in that very same session actually had a moment where her like splinters into fragments forte came into effect for the first time ever during the game. And again, I guess spoiler alert for session 3, belated spoiler, but and she like essentially had a panic attack like during that scene, and April played it out so well. Like it was absolutely heart-wrenching watching her go through that in character, and then to see Val, who was in that scene with her, see Val's like character Ishmael then like comforting Lillian and like doing it in such a real and grounded way. It was such a tender moment and I absolutely loved it. I adored it. And if Roshni was not going through it at the time, like I know Roshni would have had like things to say about that, but I as Hamna definitely have lots to say about it. It was beautiful.
That sounds so awesome. And as someone, you have to go back and watch these 3 episodes, guys. I'm not talking to you, but to the audience, but because everything that they're saying is not what I would have said for each individual person. So it's awesome when you watch the three episodes as a collective. Go back and watch them. You can watch them on YouTube as well, right? Not only Twitch. Is everything up on YouTube as well?
I couldn't find my mouse. Yeah, I usually get the episodes trimmed down and up within like 2 or 3 days. So yeah, they're on YouTube.
Yeah, so if you can, go to YouTube or Twitch and watch all 3 episodes, and you're definitely going to see where they're coming from, because all 3 episodes have been fantastic so far. This is going to be a mirror question, because like GMing Invisible Sun, it's its own beast in its entirety. So could you talk about the pros and cons of GMing a system like this? But do you think it lends well to streaming?
If you have a very narrative heavy playstyle, I definitely highly suggest looking at the system or Cypher. Cypher is also a really good example of it as well, because they share the character arc mechanic and just the general narrativeness, even though the mechanics are slightly different themselves. But the beast that is Invisible Sun. I'm sorry, one more time for the question. It is late in my time zone.
If you had a pro or a con.
Pro or con. Yeah. So pros is definitely, it lends well to narrative systems, and especially for someone who can come up with plots but prefers not to. I love the character arc mechanic, because it allows me to pull what I want from each backstory and weave it, because I don't come up with anything in an Invisible Sun game until I get character arcs and characters. Period. I don't touch it, because this is where I draw my inspiration from. Cons, I don't really have too many, except for the fact that it's always hard to learn a new system. And if you're used to a D20 system or something like Powered by the Apocalypse, it is a different beast in trying to get your head wrapped around that, and putting as I think the way Alex said it is, and all of you, learning a system where the mechanics lean itself to the narrative instead of vice versa, and being like a combat game.
Oh, that's a great answer.
Yeah, it's definitely if you come from those other systems, that narrative side can take a little getting used to, but once you're in there, it's awesome.
I tell this to Dean all the time. Actually, I told this to Monte Cooke all the time. I've been GMing for over 30 years, and Invisible Sun intimidates the shit out of me. Like, from a GM perspective, I don't know what it is. Like, as a player, I don't mind. It's like, I always fear that I'm gonna get the setting wrong. Like the surrealism is something that I always fear that I'm not going to get the aesthetic right.
But on the flip side, learning a new setting is also very different, very hard in general. Like whether it's Numenera or if it's like Eberron from the D&D sphere. But on the other hand, it's okay to get it wrong, because literally anything can happen in the actuality. And pulling a quote from Keith Baker in regards to the Eberron setting, it's your Saturnine. Do what you freaking want.
Oh yeah, if you watch any of the videos, you know where to fudge the rules, do what you want, guys. I understand. It's just something about Invisible Sun. It's like Monte Cooke's masterpiece, and
For me, it's kind of funny you bring that up, because like Invisible Sun is one of those games that I want to run. I want to run it so bad, but I want to run it with the right people. My understanding of it is so much more to the fact that the game just isn't built that I can sit down and just play it with just anybody, because it's kind of like a buy-in on both sides of the screen, if you will, And I think that's what's really important. And I think that's what brings out a really great story. And I can, feel it with you guys. That's what I think is one of the things that makes it so compelling. I really cannot wait to, get back in and watch the rest of the episodes. So great stuff.
I learned to get over the setting being intimidating by reminding myself that Monte Cooke is not going to burst through my wall like the Kool-Aid Man if I get it wrong. So
we're gonna tell him you said that tomorrow.
Yeah.
What if
We're
it
gonna tell
does
him. So
now?
we're gonna tell him exactly what you said. We're gonna give him your address so he can come
hold
kick your
on,
door down.
But
I'm
if
not
he
gonna
bursts
let
through
you
your
know.
wall, Alex, you can get an autograph.
That's, I feel like there could be some fun conversations there. Not the least of which is how
The
do you
mental
break through
note
my
is that we're
wall?
giving we're giving Mayor's phone number away right after this, and we're giving Monte Alex's address right after this.
And a Kool-Aid Man costume specifically.
And a
That's
Kool-Aid
important.
Man, yes. I want a Kool-Aid Man costume. That's awesome.
But now that we had a question for Mayor, I have a question for the cast specifically. Is there any direction or like place you want to see your story arcs go for your characters or maybe the other characters, or anything you want like the audience to experience in the future as far as your show goes?
Okay,
This
I'm
is
gonna
one
give a
time
little
you let man
teaser.
know exactly what you want.
I'm gonna give a little teaser, which is I want y'all to pay attention to Roshni's emotional state. It's gonna go places. It's been going places. And there are reasons for why it is the way it is. That's all I'm gonna say. Pay attention to Roshni's emotional state.
Alex?
Yeah. I don't want to say too much in terms of what like my physical goals are, but like narratively, I sort of want to explore the concept of like, how do you get past like the things that you have done wrong in the past? So how do you move forward? Like, I have to put value into myself if I'm going to keep on existing. I have to care about myself, but also still being able to fully acknowledge, okay, the shit I did back then is like real bad. So that's what I want to explore. How do you forgive yourself? How do you move forward?
What does Eleanor need forgiveness for, Alex?
That's a great question.
You'll find out
What does
next
Eleanor need
session.
forgiveness
You're gonna find
for?
out in session 4. Stay tuned for next Sunday.
I'm scared.
We're giving Mayor a bunch of plot hooks right now. That's why we always throw this question in when we have a
Oh, this has been planned since Alex said they were doing some mechanical stuff.
I'm looking. That's all I'm saying, Alex. I am looking.
Valiant. What are you?
I'm looking respectfully at you as well, Alex. my conspiracy board only grows bigger. I need to purchase more poster paper for it now. It's great. It's really hard to explain anything about Ishmael without kind of just letting the entire cat out of the bag. But I think the thing to look out for in Ishmael's arc is to kind of pay attention to the way he moves about the world and moves around, specifically his connections with other people. Because I think that that's where everything kind of really happens, is in those really subtle choices that he decides to take in those moments. And I'm just waiting for when Mur has got that whole basket of knives that I've handed them, and I'm just going to stand like the circus knife board and just go and just start spinning in a circle and go ahead, I am ready at any given point. But yeah, like I said, with the thing that I love most about this game is this incredible conspiracy board that I've got, and I'm so invested in everyone's storylines. I must know what everyone's up to. I need it.
I will say though,
Picture the conspiracy board sometimes so we could.
Yeah, like there's a reason why next session is going to be more of a vignette episode, because I have a lot of points I need to hit with a bunch of characters.
but I was gonna just say before we hopped into the next question here was, has anyone drawn your character in that like from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, like his conspiracy board Charlie? Like someone needs to draw that like immediately.
Yes, my friend sent me a meme of a superimposed Ishmael against that exact image. So yes, it does exist. It is in the
Good.
Ishmael meme folder that I continuously send swaps to just to Mare.
Wait, can you send that to me as well?
I was gonna say, share it with
I
the
want
rest of the
that.
group.
We have a meme channel in our Invisible Sun Discord.
I know, but I can't send them the other memes.
Okay, that's
Okay, at least send this one. At least this one.
I'll send this one.
Just a little, just a little nugget.
A little taste.
That's great. So, with all of this wonderful stuff that we've talked about, is there anything you as players want to foreshadow that you're thinking of doing, or possibly throwing at your GM? And of course, Mayor, I don't know what you want to tell us about what you have cooked up, but what can we look forward to from the Souls Confidant in the future?
The first 3 sessions have been kind of like tame. Like, we decided during our session 0 that we wanted this to be like a very narratively and emotionally compelling game. So it's only gonna grow bigger from there, because there's a lot of inter-character relationships between PCs and NPCs we have not seen yet, and I can't wait to see the drama that unfolds from that, because it's gonna be interesting. We did not, at least the general vibe I was getting, everyone's like, please hurt me, I want pain, consensual pain, and it's not gonna, I have no clue how the game is gonna end, because that's just how the game works in terms of mechanics, but like, I expect a lot of despairs to be taken from a lot of the cast.
What else could we look forward to from friends who roll dice?
Sure. We have a Monday game of D&D 5e. Starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on The Mind and the Martyr. We're currently on pause from any charity games, but starting in January, we're in the process of getting a game of Urban Shadows get together, GM'd by at Reliable Elliot on Twitter. So that's something to look at during the pipeline. And so far, it hasn't been announced yet, but it's a very, very good cast.
You're muted, buddy.
Your guys stream, does Friends Who Roll Dice have content every day?
No, right now, just the Souls Confidant and the Mind and the Martyr are the only games right now that are like consistent every week.
That's awesome. If anyone in chat has a question for these wonderful human beings, please post it in chat. We'll love to hear. I'm sure your questions will be a lot better than what we came up with. So if you have any questions or any secret tips that we failed to realize or notice from the show, let us know about that as well.
All right, awesome. While people ask questions, though, I think we can do our rapid fire questions and then hop in with any questions the audience might have for us here. But yeah, you guys survived our main round of questionings, but I'm gonna let Anthony do our little intro for this because he does it the best.
All right, guys, that was the easy part. Now, here's where we dig deep and dirty. Here's where we pull out your soul, right? We stretch it. We take your essence and we stretch it on the table for the whole world to see. Are you guys ready for the Cypher Unlimited rapid fire questions?
Let's go.
Yes.
Scared, but
Bring
yes.
it up.
Yes.
I guess I'll go first. Player or GM? Hamna?
Player.
Alex?
I gotta say GM. I don't like it, but I gotta say it.
Valiant?
GM.
Mayor?
Do I have to answer this question?
You do.
GM.
I'm the only heathen in this group, apparently.
It's a very hard decision, okay?
Next one here. Pull punches or TPK? Anna, we'll start with Hamna.
Ooh, as a GM? Oh, I pull my punches.
Alex?
Try not to pull punches. I just try to make it interesting afterwards.
Valiant?
I can't challenge my players. TPK.
And Mir?
I pull my punches. I feel bad. But I do it, and I hurt people in other ways.
Same.
Hurt people with the role
same.
play.
I
There
don't want
we
to kill
go.
you. I just
Yeah.
want to hurt you.
There we go.
All right. So online gaming or in-person gaming, and we'll start with you, Valiant.
I have not gotten to play in person, so I'm going to have to say online gaming.
Wow. Okay.
Oh,
Alex.
In person by a smidge.
Hamna.
In person by a lot. I miss it. I miss it so much.
And Mare.
I want to say in person, but like my experience has gotten like so much exponentially better online just because of the wider people I can play with and I vibe better with. So the goal is to get us all in one room someday.
Nice.
Gen
Okay,
Con-
Invisible Sun meetup when?
Exactly.
Whenever it's safe to go
conventions.
out.
Gen Con
Listen,
20
I'm there.
Gen Con-
I'll buy tickets.
Gen Con 2022.
Announce the difficulty number or keep it a secret? Mayor.
Secret.
Valiant.
Secret.
Alex.
100% secret.
Amna.
It's a secret.
You don't need to know.
You guys
GMs need joy.
Yeah.
GMs need joy.
Some players are mysterious. What a surprise.
This might be a divisive one. Salty or sweet snacks at the gaming table? Alex?
Sweet, I get enough salt for my tears.
Valiant?
Salty.
Hamna?
Sweet snacks.
And Mare?
Salty.
Oh, nice even. I'm,
It
a
was
I'm on team. I'm on team salty too.
I'm on team both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's both.
I didn't know that was an option.
RP or combat? And let's start with the GM.
RP.
Alex.
This is really hard for me, but RP by a smidge.
Hamna.
Role play. Easy.
Valiant.
I'm a theater kid. It's got to be the role play.
Nice.
There's a reason why you see a lot of theater people in the AP world.
Yeah, yeah, very true. Here's PDFs or physical books? Alex?
Physical books, but all my shits are PDFs.
Hamna?
Physical books just because I like owning them.
Mia?
I love having my physical books. The problem is I should use them more. I go through my PDFs all the time. But there's a reason why I searched around so hard for the Black Cube.
Valiant?
I love having the books. They're just easier to turn to.
And it just feels so good in your hand.
It does. Nothing beats the moment where you're, because my players tend to do this a lot, where they would want to do something where I have to check the mechanics order. This is D&D and not at all Invisible Sun. The day I get to play, I get to GM Invisible Sun. It's all over. But you know, just the power move of pulling out the book and flipping to the right page it's a power move. It's great.
The only reason why I don't use books is because I am streaming and no one needs me flipping through a book trying to find
That's
something
valid.
when I can control F.
Yeah, no, you're
Yeah.
so valid. I get,
Yeah.
especially with the Invisible Sun books, there's a lot of content in there.
All I
So
gotta say though is that feeling of cracking a book open for the first time. Oh.
I'm gonna do it one more time, because I just got my book, my Claim the Sky. So I'm gonna do it one more time.
I am
it's so
absolutely,
nice.
I'm absolutely geeking out over that copy of Claim the Sky. I've been waiting for that to come out for months.
It's so nice.
And
I
stop
have no doubt.
torturing me. Stop. Can you stop
Either way,
torturing me?
before we get too sidetracked, number 8, pen and paper or digital notes? And we'll start with the Valiant.
I think I already revealed this by revealing the fact that I have a physical conspiracy board. Pen and paper, absolutely. How else am I going to take photos of it and send it to my GM?
I've been waiting.
Hamna?
I'm a heathen. I don't take notes. Don't be mad at me. I don't.
Roshi
if
wouldn't
your
take
memory is
notes either.
that good, I mean,
No,
kudos
my
to you.
memory
Like,
is shit. I rely on all of the other players who take notes.
Oh, it's
I'm
like
the worst.
me.
I'm the
It's
worst.
just like me. Okay. Alex?
Gosh, so until my last game started, I would have said pen and paper, but right now I'm running a long-term Tallest game, and my players have the most ridiculously meticulous note files. They've got things organized by date, and they've got the dates listed by which session the dates were on.
We
It's
have a timeline.
absurd.
We
They
have a
have
timeline.
they have spreadsheets for our game notes. So yeah, nothing will ever beat that. Especially since I don't have to make it, my players are doing it for me. It's great.
Then
And
you
Mare?
literally asked
That's
today,
the
like,
best.
hey, Sarah, hey, Mare, where can I find X and Y?
Oh, I take the players' notes all the time for that shit. I'm like, I don't have time for this.
And yeah, Mare?
Well, that sounds like
Nope.
fun.
It is a fun game. It's also a lot of pain and tears. I like to prepare by taking physical notes, but in game I take digital.
Good answer.
Nice. All right, last but not least, pre-written adventures or original content. Let's start with Hamna.
If I'm GMing, I like to have a pre-written adventure as a skeleton and then to like turn it into an original adventure.
Okay, that works. And Mare,
Original adventure.
awesome. Valiant
Original adventure.
and Alex.
Original, 100%.
All right. Well, Anthony, tell them what they
You
win.
survived. You won absolutely nothing. Yay! But our gratitude. Woo!
But yeah, this has been an excellent talk. Thank you guys so much for coming on and talking with us about your show. It definitely sounds super exciting. It is super exciting, and for everyone out there who hasn't had a chance to check it out yet, please do so. I will definitely post a link right now again, even though it's been in the chat several times, but in case any newcomers are here, you can definitely check it out right now. And if you're checking this out on YouTube, it'll be down below, so definitely check it out. But yeah, before we head out of
Every
here, guys.
Sunday,
Oh,
6 p.m.
there we go.
It's on every Sunday at 6 p.m. So please go check it out, guys. They only 3 episodes in, so you have no excuse. You can't use that lame excuse, oh, I'm not gonna catch up. It's only 3 episodes in. You can binge watch that and then come back and watch the show going forward. So please go check them out. Not only are they great human beings, they're producing awesome content. And Invisible Sun is such a great game that doesn't get the notoriety it deserves. And I like to say thank you on behalf of Cypher Unlimited for showcasing such a wonderful game.
Yeah, but just to piggyback off that in a bit of a way before we get out of here, where can you guys be found on the internet? I already have some links in the chat here for Twitters, but you guys can mention it out loud, and we'll start with Valiant.
I couldn't find my mouse for a second. There we go. Hi everyone, Valiant Dorian. You can find me at Twitter, where I'm chronically online at Valiant Dorian, or on Twitch at twitch.tv/OtsaSpiritBear.
Cool. And Alex?
Hello, my name is Alex. You can find me on Twitter at Phoenix Axolotl, and you can find me invading miscellaneous channels and streaming shows wherever.
Hamna?
Hello, everyone. My name is Hamna. If you like queer disasters, literally all of my characters are queer disasters to some degree. You can find me on Twitter at hshahid_, and that's where I will post about all of the different projects I'm a part of.
And Mir?
Hi, I'm Mare. You can find me on Twitter at Archmage of Dice. The Souls Confidence is my only game at the moment until the new year, and I'm one of the leadership team and one of the producers on Friends Who Roll Dice.
Awesome.
And of course, we'll have it, we share it out here on Twitch, but also when it goes up on YouTube tomorrow, we'll have everyone's social medias up. So if you want to contact or check all these wonderful people out, go to our YouTube channel and we'll have it all posted there as well. If you like us and you like what we do, please give Cypher Unlimited a follow here on Twitch, or go to our YouTube channel and give us a like, share, and subscribe there. Or join the Cypher Unlimited Discord. We have the largest fan-run Discord server for all things Monte Cooke games. We got over 4,000 members there, and games are being played daily. Yes, I said daily. You want to play? You want to play Invisible Sun? We got you. You want to play, Numenera? You want to play Tolus? We got you there as well. Or join our Facebook group. It's not as big as our Discord, but there's still people conversating about things, also all things MCG there as well. Or give us a little donation on Ko-fi. Our videos are always free, but it helps us out with little things like Zoom course. Or go to the Cypher Unlimited online store, pick up some cool Cypher Unlimited merch. And yes, we're working on the CU capes. It should be there shortly. And last but not least, we love you guys.
So everybody, final thoughts. Like I said, once again, we loved having you guys on. Really appreciate what you're doing out there. Great show. Like I said, I enjoyed the first episode and a half that I got to watch, and I will be finishing up. Hopefully maybe I'll get a Sunday off and I can actually watch it live. But at this point, I got to catch it in the rerun. But please continue the great work. And everybody out there, once again, thank you for watching our show. And if these guys inspire you, or whatever the case may be, like we said, come on over, game with us. We love you. We love everybody. Al?
Yeah. And again, thank you everyone for coming on. Thank you guys for watching. We will be back tomorrow, actually. Actually, I'll let Anthony talk about that because you get excited about it.
Tomorrow we have Monte Cooke coming back on. Yes, the Monte Cooke. He's coming on to talk about we hitting a stretch run for Path for the Planebreaker. He's here to give us whatever questions you have about this latest Kickstarter. Please come on and ask Monte Cooke some questions. We've had all the major designers coming on. And next month, we have a special series where we have everyone from MCG coming on to actually run us in a session. We started it with Bruce. He ran us in Pass of the Planebreaker. Next up is Sean K. Reynolds. He's going to run the CU crew through some Claim the Sky. I hope he does a TPK or superheroes. So check that as well. But please come on tomorrow and talk to Monte because, Monte's awesome. It's like his third time on here. And support on Path for the Planebreaker because it looks phenomenal and there's only 4 days left.
Yep. Yeah, so definitely very exciting stuff for tomorrow as well. But we've kept you here long enough, guys. Thank you so much again. And yeah, from us at the CU, we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.